coach who said, if you're not getting ahead of this situation, especially with the quarterbacks, and essentially by getting ahead means tampering, then you're doing a disservice to your program because everybody else is. So if you're waiting for a kid to enter the portal when you've known he's going to do it for months and months and months, and I'll give you a Hudson Card as an example from Texas. We've all known when Quinn Ewers transferred to Texas, he was on portal watch. He didn't go in that time. He didn't go in this season, but we all knew he was going into December. We've probably known that since last summer or last spring. If you're not tampering and talking to that kid ahead of time, then you're not doing your job. And the NCAA has no way to stop it. NIL is the same thing. There's no way to enforce any of this stuff.
There's no answer from the NCAA side, and there's not going to be. And people who keep asking for it are crazy. I see this all the time. NCAA's gonna. There's nothing for them to do. It's over. The conferences can probably do something down the line because they have a kitty of money that's getting divvied out, and they may have some influence on it because the athletic directors can get together within a conference and say, hey, we agree to do this. But there's nothing that can be done from the NCAA. The NCAA is basically a shell organization, in my opinion. That
going away. It's going away too.
It probably works for FCS D2 and D3. It probably works there. But at the highest level, yeah.
It's going away. And either it's going to become a massive corporation that oversees all of this stuff and run like a business, or it's going to be conferences or individual businesses. So the SEC does business their way, the Big Ten does the business their way. But that's a good way to police it. Now, it's not a good way to police it between conferences. You know, if the Big Ten's tampering with a kid in the SEC, what are you going to do? Right. You could call Kevin Warren and say, what the hell? You know, if he's let's say he's the CEO of the Big Ten corporation. But within your own conference, you know, if you've got that type of cannibalization and there's tampering occurring, and a kid from, you know, Texas A&M's going to Arkansas and he was tampered with like crazy, or the opposite, he's going from Arkansas to Texas A&M. Then when you're a corporation overseeing the SEC, you can address that and right. enforce it. But you won't do it across, you know, the Big Ten. Honestly, they're going to pretend they care. But let's say Ohio State steals a kid from Florida and tampered with him for 6 months.
They don't care.
Well, who's going to, you think the Big Ten's going to slap Ohio State on the wrist for doing that? No, because probably the SEC did it to another Big Ten school prior to that. So I don't know what the solution is. I really don't care what the solution is. I don't. I was getting a question from one of my writers the other day, and he's a young kid, and he's really inquisitive, and he was asking me questions. I was in a bad mood when he texted me, as usual. And, you know, he asked me, he's like, so when do you know, this is out of control, this portal stuff and NIL stuff. And, you know, when do you think this is going to be fixed? And I said, it's never going to be fixed. And he's like, what? And I said, it's just never going to be fixed. He goes, well, how long is the NCAA going to last? I go, not long, but it's going to be a few years before they're disbanded. And then individual corporations will probably propped up for the conferences, or you'll have one, you know, massive corporation overseeing all of them. But it's not going to change anything. And he's like, so you're saying to me college football is going to be an absolute mess forever? I go, yeah, it is, because you brought in free agency and now pay for play. And you don't have a collective bargaining agreement. You don't have an NFL, you know, type of a corporation status. You don't have everybody moving in the same direction. And I don't see that ever happening. I don't see them ever being able to prop up, you know, the CFFL, the College Football League, where it's a national conglomerate with players associations and you know, free agency deadlines and salary caps and all that stuff. How are they ever going to get that done when every entity? The NFL owns 32 teams, essentially. The owners own the teams, but 32 teams are under that NFL umbrella. All of them equal. The Texans may suck and the Cowboys may be worth the most money, but they're all under that umbrella equal. You've got 100 plus teams. You got 60 plus Power 5 teams. how are you going to manage that under one umbrella when they're all doing different things and they're all fighting for their own agenda?
The issue is you brought it up really well. From a business standpoint, the NFL is the corporation, and they are franchises that they've sold. It's a
Right.
franchising business that they sold in each state to these.
Chick-fil-A.
It's a
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A model, right? And so they've sold these franchises, okay, and it's probably even more McDonald's than for Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A has a little more kind of daily say on everything, maybe more McDonald's, but it's the franchise model. The the colleges are individual corporations. They're their own corporation. So each one of these are individual corporations. So it's Mike Farrell Corporation, Dave Schuman Corporation, John Smith Corporation, all being loosely operated by a separate corporation that really has no control over them. And then the third part that makes it unique is there's another entity, which is the Big Ten Conference, which is a corporation that they're a member of. So they have a membership fee that they pay to have comparable principles among all of the individual organizations. To make that like the NFL, a franchise model, is so complicated and so difficult to get. Why would anyone, if I was Ohio State, I'm already giving money to this membership that I'm getting money kicked back to me. Why would I want to pay a franchise fee now to another organization and have to give, I don't know, 8% of my income or 10% of my income to that organization so it operates as a management tool of me? No, I don't want any more management. I'm already doing less management. No one's ever going to opt for more management when they have less management already. It's impossible. You know what I mean? If you're Texas or Ohio State or Georgia or Alabama with $1 billion enterprise, I'm already giving money because of TV away to the conference. I'm not going to give any more of that money away to anybody else. I just don't see it, you know?
Yeah, and it makes me think of the Securities Exchange Commission and stock market and corporations having to be overseen from a legal aspect to protect the consumer, which is a federal government funded situation. You're not going to get federal funding to oversee college football, even if it is a business, even if the consumer can be hurt or jilted or taken advantage of, but they're never going to treat this as a legal entity in that respect. That's what Emmert wanted. He wanted NIL to be government run. He kept praying that Congress was going to look at this thing, and before the states implemented their individual NIL, he was hoping that they would come in and there would be national implications to NIL that's where you could get a government instituted cap on the amount of money kids can make per state, this, that, and the other. The federal government looked at it and said, no, we don't need this problem. This is your problem. You figure it out. And that's when he resigned and he came up with no plan. I mean, him and Bosley had a plan. It sucked, but they had a plan in place for NIL. They scrapped it. Emmert quit. He didn't quit that moment, but he quit. And he was kind of run out. And it was like, okay, NIL's here. I forget what it was, July 1st, I think it was. NIL's here. Everybody's free to do whatever they want. And that's kind of where we're at now. So it's never going to be governed from a government standpoint, which is why we are protected from, Ponzi schemes and Enrons of the world. Well, you're not protecting the consumer from Ohio State. So it's going to have to be individually managed, and that's virtually impossible. So listen, again, I want to watch football on Saturdays and enjoy it, and I still do. I want to follow recruiting and enjoy it, and I still do. The portal, it's an adjustment. Now 25% of kids are projected to be starters next year from a different school. That's 1/4 of your roster is going to have a starter from a school where it didn't start with. Okay, I can adjust to that. NIL, I don't give a crap about. I don't care what Caleb Williams is making. I don't care what he's selling. If he wants to paint his fingernails for, a gas station or an oil company, I don't give a crap. And that's great for him. Good for him. But I don't want to hear it. I don't care about it. It doesn't matter to me. It's going to affect recruiting in the portal, but that's not my problem. That's the problem of the coaches. So Kermani McLean, whatever Miami did to get him to come off of his favorite school to Florida to go to Miami, and now there were rumors this weekend Alabama was going to come in with a bigger offer. Good luck. Good luck. If he's very good. He's my number one cornerback in the country. He's a top 10 player in the country. If he's worth it, have at it. But good luck, because any kid who is NIL driven is going to go to that school and he's going to have his hand out within 3 months, or he's going to want to transfer because he ain't playing. I'm making all this money and not playing. I want out. Or I'm making all this money and I'm starting as a freshman, but I was told by my uncle Billy I should be making more money. Where's my money? And then all the kids in that defensive back room are going to be like, this kid's making that much money. I made 6 tackles in this game. He made 2. I got a pass deflection. He got burnt. Where's my money? And so good luck to college coaches in dealing with that garbage. But I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear anything. When I see these Nico deals and this Jaden Rashada kid who committed to Miami initially and then flipped to Florida and all these NIL deals, it's $5 million. I don't care. Couldn't care less. Make all the money you want. I'm not resentful towards you for it.
Oh, yeah.
But that part of it, I don't care. And I really don't care, honestly, what Dak Prescott makes per game or that he's a $40 million quarterback. I mean, when he sucked,